Hello, Radical Nation here. We are gathered here today to say goodbye to our Twitter account. I've had to access it using a, fake backup account. I don't know what you call it on Twitter, where bots and, agents of the deep state, misinformation, disinformation, censorship regime get to determine what you can see. So I'm going to spend a little time just scrolling through some of my highly offensive posts, which, my 715 big followers, shouldn't have been allowed to see for their own protection. Starting with my pinned posts. I change my pinned posts frequently, but this one managed to last for 5 days, actually 4 days, and now I'm not able to change it because I'm locked out of my account. So let's go. This was a really cool site that I found elsewhere, because you can't find stuff like this on Twitter generally. So I posted it. I thought it would be cool for people to be able to see it and access it. And if you actually type in the bit.ly address here, it will take you to the PDF that contains this documentation. But anyway, let's move on. This was a quote post of something I said. I take pot shots at Coldplay whenever they come up in my feed, and so I guess this guy was paying a lot of attention to his post where he described how Coldplay booked their tour paying careful attention to minimize their use of fossil fuels. Sounds great. I don't know how true it is or not, but I gave some kudos to the booking agent. Let's see, a repost of Kim.com. I believe this thoroughly. The U.S. is bankrupt and the dollar is being replaced in international trade. And I've had frequent posts regarding this situation. None of these are what I think got me canceled. What I was told got me canceled came about on, I believe it was January 28th or something, and February 7th is when they told me, to take this down, delete your own post, and we'll let you come back in 12 hours. But I didn't. So here's a very interesting post by Caitlin Johnstone, who's always fantastic. Whatever you are on, you should follow her. You can also find her directly on Substack, which is where I think she pretty well posts first, but then she follows up in Twitter and other outlets. Here's just a general, I hate big corporations. And I'm not going to be allowed to follow anyone anymore. So here's a post that I just, referenced our rules-based order and how Israel has broken 62 resolutions with no consequences, and Iraq broke 2 and got destroyed by the United States. Let's see. Oh, so this was in reply to a post sort of condemning the ICJ judge who, voted against Palestine twice. And so now she's been moved to, I guess, the president or some leadership role in the ICJ. Let's see. This was just a little local story that I followed up on, and I watched about half the story and turned it off as soon as they swung into the, you know, Israel-centric type of crap. Well, somebody else informed me that they went on and really sold the Israel line, and so I posted this, but I don't think that got me canceled. This guy, Equality Alec, is really great if you want to know anything about what's going on in prisons and in things like poor people and crimes, and he has a lot of great posts. So here's one I'm sure they didn't like. This was an announcement by Thomas Massie, who, at least in this case regarding Israel, has been pretty straightforward that he will not support them. And but he was making this point about how the House sent a clean bill. By clean means not tied to other bills. And so I make these kind of comments. I've never murdered anybody, and I never intend to, but Twitter has a different perspective. Let's see, here's some good news that a Japanese corporation announced that it will no longer send parts to Elbit to make weapons of destruction. Here's a story of a young boy who was killed, and yes, as it was originally posted, it seemed as if he was completely innocent. As it turns out, he approached this 14-year-old kid who weighs all of 100 pounds, and probably more like 75 or 80, if I'm not mistaken, because he's, been living under the occupation all these years. He approached a couple of Israeli soldiers and attempted to stab one, and they shot him down, and he was down. He wasn't going to hurt anybody else, and but he was still alive, and apparently a female soldier came up along and finished him, like some of our leaders have said to do to people in Palestine. Let's see. So as you can see, much of my stuff has to do with Palestine and Israel, and I'm clearly, for Palestine, Palestinian rights, and I actually think that there should not be a state of Israel. They have demonstrated that they are beasts and monsters, and they don't deserve to have a state, certainly not in this fashion. I think they should be, told to go or simply removed from power. That's not to say I want to genocide them, because that's the first claim that they'll make, but we'll see what other kinds of claims they make. Here I came across a post from September of 21, and it was mostly about AOC, who I've also called out frequently, but this particular one struck me, so I reposted it. Let's see. Wow, hard to say what this was. I have a feeling this had to do with a protest, Jewish Voices for Peace protest, but I can't be sure now because I can't follow the actual. I'd have to go dig this down on my, reserved account, and I'm not going to do that now. Let's see. So here was a post. There was a it was a reply to a post that was decrying, um, I guess, whatever brutality that was going on, uh, probably in New York City, as far as that goes. And they made reference. The post featured a picture from Soylent Green, but they didn't actually clarify it. So, as I knew this was a very old film, I jumped in and added something. And you can see this is one of the things for which people do not, people in power do not appreciate. Um, I basically said if you made Soylent Green out of millionaires and billionaires, it would be much more effective than making it out of regular people, because once you've, you know, made Soylent Green out of a million or so of the richest people on the planet, the rest of the planet could probably live very, very nicely. Then repost Julian Assange. I support the Free Assange movement. This is a very good poster. Comes up with a lot of very good posts and things you don't often find elsewhere. And this young lady, I support her 100%. She was one of the very few people in Hollywood to actually condemn the genocide, and so they fired her. Again, one of the reasons. And I think I had an earlier post, which technically is a later post, that referencing Disney and not supporting them. Let's see. This guy, this is Revolutionary Blackout Network. These guys are fantastic. He's often predicting or calling things out long before it gets known to the general public, or he's just basically had, theories and stuff which proved to be 100% accurate. I believe communists. I believe they are communists over there at Revolutionary Blackout Network. So check them out. Really awesome to hear things from a socialist / communist perspective. I have been saying this for years. The Democratic Party exists to enable the GOP. So I reposted it. Fantastic. I think I only had very recently followed this poster. More good news. Nicaragua going to bring UK and Canada. I believe somebody else has already brought the US up in terms of supporting genocide, being complicit. So that's good news. And this is what they do in Israel to anyone they capture from Palestine, including children. And this is an UNRWA worker who they have smeared with, but also with no evidence whatsoever. And so here's a victim of Israeli aggression right here. Happens to be an UNRWA worker, and very likely this was posted by an Israeli soldier, actually. So this is one of those things that they don't like for people to point out. Before they took me down, they had given me some warning about hate-based content or something to that effect, and I didn't. There was really nothing to protest because I didn't care about the particular post. But that was probably the first time I had gained the attention of these censors, and so anyway, this is just one of those things that I wanted to point out, that it's perfectly fine for supporters of Israel to write things like this, and that flies just fine. But, if I say, Zionism is a terrorist, whatever, that's, that's anti-Semitism. Let's see. Interesting that Elon Musk, who has like automatically millions of followers because he's rich and famous, but has decided to game Twitter in his favor, so that he's not subjected to all the other awful things that other people who post truth often are. I mean, community notes is a good idea, basically, but how I see it implemented, I see so often that the Israel lobby, or whoever runs the censorship regime, the Twitter files, people behind that, have been able to do whatever they want, and other people cannot make use of the community notes. I was locked out of community notes altogether. Their rules somewhat say that if you've ever had a post within the last year or so that got a warning, you're not allowed. I can't remember exactly, but that's the rules-based order here at Twitter. Well, here's just a repost of things that should the censors feel that should not be allowed to be said. This was very interesting, and this one might have garnered the attention of the wrong people as well. It so happened in my feed that I got this post regarding Saturday Night Live, and right below it was this post of a victim of Israeli bombing who has lost both of his legs. I was just pointing out that, for SNL to not really say much of anything about the atrocities and the genocide that was ongoing for months, and then to come off with this really cringe kind of a joke, just pathetic. And this guy, well, the post says everything in it, pretty much. Either, I don't know, these sick people, grammar doesn't mean much to them, so he can, come up with this nonsense. This is another one that may have caught the attention of the wrong people, Gonzalo Lira, and so I decided to repost. Oops. Yeah, X has turned into absolute just crap since now I get to go through all this again. We might have to come back. Yes, I think we will.